Now, despite the ongoing market uncertainty, Australia's CFOs and finance directors are confident in the growth prospects for their businesses in 2012, which is good news for finance and accounting professionals, according to research released by recruitment firm Robert Half. Joining me now to take us through the findings is David Jones, Managing Director of Robert Half International. Mr. Jones, look, thanks very much for your time. Look, I would have thought, considering all of the, particularly, I suppose, global macro issues at the moment, that confidence wouldn't exactly have been running too high. I mean, were you surprised at all by these results?
I wouldn't say we were surprised, but we certainly were encouraged. I mean, the survey that we undertook was across 300 CFOs and finance directors across all of Australia in the very recent past, actually from the 10th of December through to the 10th of January. And over 80% of the respondents said that they felt very good about the growth prospects for the sector in which they worked, and in the high 70s about the overall growth prospects for all of Australia combined. So that in itself, I don't think was surprising, but certainly was encouraging.
I mean, what are they saying is the reason for their confidence, for their optimism?
I think it's a mixture of different things. Overall, they feel good about, the stability, I guess, in the market. We've seen, I guess, some encouraging unemployment results from North America. Some may argue some increased stability in Europe. And I guess there's just a stronger sense of the fact that maybe some people were sort of arguing doomsday in China. That doesn't appear to be happening, at least right now today. So people feel pretty optimistic. And overall, I guess that means that perhaps people are more inclined to move jobs because they feel there's a greater degree of stability. So let alone allowing for growth in jobs, if people feel more confident, they'll probably be more inclined to look for the next opportunity.
I suppose flowing through to that general confidence is from the report I see that the hiring tensions of the CFOs is quite good at the moment. They are looking to take on staff in the first half of this year.
Yeah, that's right. So of the respondents we had, over 44% said that they were looking to add to headcount in the first half of this year. 12% that they said they were looking to actually decrease. So we would say argue a net up 32%, with about 40% saying constant. So again, that's pretty positive sentiment. You're not just talking about hiring, you're actually talking about adding to headcount. So 44% looking to add to headcount.
I suppose it comes as maybe a little bit of a surprise, particularly when looking at that finance sector, because at the moment we are seeing announcements of job losses by the big banks, and speculation we could see more.
Yeah, well, that's right. I think you have to remember that this survey which we undertook was with CFOs and finance directors for finance and accounting personnel. And although there are some job losses in some of those institutions, not necessarily in the sectors which we're talking about, or I should say the profession which we're talking about, accounting and finance, roughly about a third of the respondents that fed back to us were actually in the financial services sector. So we're sort of seeing broad-brushed confidence towards optimism in 2012.
Do you get any sense of what sort of levels the people you spoke to are actually looking at filling, at hiring, what kind of level?
Yeah, I guess you're probably looking in the main within the finance and accounting area. Typically people getting paid between sort of $60 through to $120,000, $140,000 per annum. Above that, sentiment is a little weaker, but it's still strong, it's still robust, but it's not as buoyant as that sort of mid to junior level management positions.
And look, I mean, do you expect those reasonably strong hiring intentions to continue through the year, and does that make it a more competitive space, if you like, for employers?
Well, certainly for most of the organisations that we speak to, when they look at their own results, they've probably got tougher comparisons in the first half of this year versus the first half of last year. So arguably, if things remain stable, the overall business community is solid, both locally and globally, one would think that there's a strong possibility that market sentiment will actually improve in the second half of the year, as many organisations come up against sort of slightly easier comparatives in terms of the growth trends in their own business.
Right, David, do have to leave it there. Thanks very much for your time today.
Thank you.